Hello, I'm just demonstrating the lights out game. This is a part of chapter 3. I thought you might want to see this. The code can be found in our current week if you want to download that and run that. This is just for observation. Here's the game. The purpose of this game is if I click on a square, it turns the lights either on or off in adjacent squares. So let's go ahead and start in this corner square. We can see we've got an on light and then two off. If I click here, so it basically turned the one right to it. If you remember, that was on, it turned that one off, and then it turned these lights in these adjacent squares on. Let's try over here. So if I click here, let's see what this does. This one's off, and we see this whole grid is off here. If I click there, it turned the two adjacent squares on. Okay. Now, if I click here, this probably isn't going to do me a whole lot of good, but let's see what this does. See how that turned this one on and all of those off. So it keeps track of this in an array. It knows which ones are on and off. This is a 3 by 3 grid, and it keeps tracking an array, 1 for on, 0 for off. And so it knows where they're located and then whether they get turned on or off. So I'm not doing so well here. I might get lucky. Eventually I'll win. So that's the lights out game. Let me give you, you've been through the code in your Zybook. Here's the lights out game. This is the object. We're doing object-oriented programming that creates the actual game. We've got number of rows and columns. If I wanted to create a game that had 4 rows and columns, I could just change that to 4. And these are the lights that make up the grid. Notice that's an array called M lights, and it's a 2 by 2 grid, well 3 by 3 grid. So it's got rows, 3 columns, and that's how we keep track of whether the lights are on or off. If you know what this is a constructor. When we actually create an instance of the lights out game, it creates a constructor and sets the number of rows and columns to 3 by 3. If I click on new game, this one isn't working, by the way. That would be something that if you load the app, you might want to fix. If I click on new game, it's supposed to set everything to a new randomly occurring sequence of on and off lights. And then this is what happens when I select a light for an occurrence of a game. This is how it goes ahead and turns lights on or off. And then it knows when they're all off or all on, it will put the game over. All right, so this is what actually runs. We create a new occurrence of the lights out game. We bring in everything from activity main.xml. There's the design. And actually what each one of these is a button, which is kind of interesting. On click, it goes to on light button click event. And we can see that on light button click event. We create a new occurrence of the lights out game. And there's that event. And that's when you click on the button, it knows where the button is, and it works with the occurrence of the lights out game to keep track of whether things are on or off. So that's basically a spin around the block for this game. Cool little game. I'll put the code out. So for those of you that have access to Android Studio, you can open it up and look at it. Even if you don't have access to Android Studio, you can open it up in Notepad and take a look. Okay, thanks for watching.